ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Welcome back, this is Arlene.
Welcome back, this is Grace.
And you're still with us on our ASEAN Daily, this time on the economic side. Just to highlight a bit of the changing demographic of shoppers.
Sure.
We see more and more shoppers are tech savvy, and because of that, shoppers are paying 0% interest and retailers pay 10% in a strained ASEAN credit mart. We are seeing that families buying a lot of goods via online rather than buying it in the store themselves. So there's a bit of rivalry from the e-commerce for the consumer who would rather take on their phone and buy something from e-carousel than actually go to the store in the shopping market and buy their goods.
Well, it's very interesting news because when it comes to purchasing your own products and then you want to buy either going to the shop area and then look for the products that you want, or you can just simply scroll down on your screen via any kinds of apps that you have downloaded, and you can simply choose and then that will also deliver it to you. So that saves your traveling time, and then even going to the shop and then just walking around, that time saves a lot. Perhaps that's there is a transition now going to online shopping.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
And then also in terms of the percentage that you can carry on, people go for the cheaper, affordable, and also easier way to shop nowadays. So that's why e-commerce or other platforms, online platforms especially, they have gained a lot of popularity.
And because of that, Southeast Asia retailers are losing out a lot. Retailers who borrow to finance growth are also losing ground to online marketplaces like Alibaba Group. And we all know a lot of us love to shop online. I mean, Lazada, Zalora, there's just a whole list of it, Carousel and all that.
Yep, and then because of that, also, when you hear from the people's satisfaction level, they're pretty okay, or quite fine with the products that they have purchased online. And then if they are not really satisfied with the product, they can also return the product to their original source, which is pretty fair on them. Perhaps those are the lot of attraction points that the buyers have been bought so far.
Just give example of Singapore. Retail store sales in Singapore dropped for a third month in November, falling 2% from a year earlier. This is according to the Department of Statistics. Meanwhile, online transactions in the region of Southeast Asia are growing at tremendous rate. Giving example of Singapore Post, domestic e-commerce orders in Southeast Asia and Australia rose 384% in the 12 months through November, according to the company presentation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in addition to that, Quartz Asia, which sells goods from electronics to home furniture in Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia, they began meeting investors last week ahead of the schedule, and then that was about 383 million ringgit. Or 125 million Singaporean dollars repayment of notes, which was in May. And of course, a lot of potential online platforms are coming on even more and more. And of course, it has become very competitive industry.
Completely competitive.
Yeah, but all those buyers, including us, the clients are just going for online even more than before, especially with the technology advancement.
So retailers like H&M, Uniqlo and all that, these are big department stores, and of course the existing one like Parkson. I think they need to change the way they make, the way they do business, because everyone recognizes that retail sector in Southeast Asia market will continue to be challenging in the short term.
Right.
But if investors look across the medium and long term, interestingly, the prospects are still there.
So it has the bit of a risk and take, of course, when it comes to online platform. But with looking at all the successful online apps such as Carousel, like you mentioned, a few other fashion apps before, they have come up a long way to attract the clients. And in fact, it has been working very well so far.
Oh, that's great.
And especially mobile phones.
Yeah.
According to a lot of population nowadays, people tell each other that no one actually buys at store when it comes to phones anymore.
Actually, that's true. I mean, I saw a lot of my friends, they would rather order it online, and a lot of phones nowadays, even including Xiaomi, actually it's better to order it online. And what we are seeing right now is just the changing of market. Yeah.
And this is a very interesting transition, like I mentioned before also. And it has quite an impact on the society, and also having this online transaction, online sales platform. A lot of people really need to learn how how to have these both platforms, physical and online platforms.
Now I need to download more apps on the marketplace.
Right.
So let's move on to another news. This is a bit of a serious news because it's not just about economy, it's also about international relations.
Right.
What we are seeing right now is a sanction towards North Korea, and Japan, US, South Korea is helping ASEAN member to toughen the cargo checks.
Well, which is very, very necessary, I would say. In fact, the United Nations Security Council members, they are discussing a draft resolution condemning the North Korea's latest declared nuclear test. And also they're all calling for additional sanctions. So these countries, like you mentioned, Japan, USA, and also South Korea, they really need to give helping hands to ASEAN members to strengthen and also toughen these checks even more.
So they are considering, for example, the Japanese government to develop assistance to fund training for foreign customer agents. It also likely will be provided for adopting precision equipment able to detect shipment of nuclear and other banned material. But we are also seeing that North Korea global trade total at about 10.5 billion in 2014. So, I mean, even though North Korea is a small country, it's not really a rich country and quite backward as well. But it's not that but it's making a really huge dent in the global market. I mean, 10.5 billion, that's not bad.
Yeah, for sure. And at the same time, many North Korea-bound ships reportedly stopped in Vietnamese, Malaysian, and other Southeast Asian ports along the way. So that's when the Japan and the USA and also South Korea, they really need to look for closer cooperation with ASEAN and ratcheting up the pressure on the regime in especially Pyongyang in North Korea.
Yeah, that's true. So in imposing the new sanction, the US and its East Asian allies seek to close any loopholes that might give Pyongyang breathing room. Even if China remains passive, the flow of goods into North Korea would be greatly restricted as long as the resolution is implemented to the letter. And for ASEAN, definitely a lot of countries, including South Korea, are seeking closer cooperation with ASEAN in ratcheting up the pressure on the regime in Pyongyang. So at the end of the day, it seems like a lot of the countries all over the world are interested in Southeast Asia, but they are also a bit cautious about North Korea, especially having closer relationship with ASEAN.
Of course.
Yeah, you never know what would happen in the future. Let's move on to the arts and culture side of Southeast Asia on a very cheerful note. The Chinese are starting their own Nobel Peace Prize. Oh, sorry, not Peace Prize, just Nobel Prize.
Well, this is very interesting news, and also the question right away I'm sure all our listeners might have is, can it beat the Nobel Prize, the actual Nobel Prize yourself?
That's true.
Yeah.
I would question the same thing too.
Yeah, exactly. And they have their own version right now, Chinese version of Nobel Prize. And of course, it was initiated, these Future Science Awards were initiated by a group of elite Chinese scientists and also business leaders. And that includes Xi Yingyong, the academician of the Chinese Academy of Science and the winner of the Gregory Aminoff Prize from Royal Swedish Academy of Science, and also the president of Life Science, which is Rao Yi, and Robin Lee Yang Hong, chairman and CEO of Baidu, as well as Yang Yoqing, a CEO of Lenovo.
I mean, the great thing about this is they are finally, honoring Chinese top scientists with a view to create China's own version of the Nobel Prize. I mean, to me, when it comes to trying to honor great scientists, there's a great culture. I mean, nowadays people worship entertainers, celebrities who have done literally nothing in improving society. Well, having another Nobel Prize like the Future Science Award is a great thing. I don't think it's a rival to Nobel Prize, but I think it's an additional or complementary to the Nobel Prize.
Exactly. I mean, acknowledging all these great works, I think it's a very good step forward, like you mentioned before. But I'm sure there is also quite of the mixed feelings and also opinions coming from the public.
That's true.
Because no matter what it is again coming from China, and it's another version of a Nobel Prize, and then people may have a second thought. But this award was established by some of the renowned people in the country, so it is definitely well received. And with that award, I hope it goes on for a long time, and eventually a lot more people can perceive this prize as a really, really acknowledged prize, just like a Nobel Prize.
And mind you, the prize is not a low-cost prize. The prize is valued at $1 million. So I think it will be a great funding mechanism for scientists. It has two awards. One is Life Science Award, another one is Material Science Award.
I see.
And one of the winner, which is Yang Zhenning, the 94-year-old Chinese-American Nobel Prize winner, he said that the award will spark a huge influence in China, and I couldn't agree more. And what's great is initiated by private organization instead of the government. So you know that just like the Nobel Prize is also initiated by private sector, at least we can do some sort of check and balances to the awardees. Because I think that is important to have a fair judgment on who should win the award.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and we move on to another news about Hun Sen. Do you guys know that Hun Sen now is no longer a digital dinosaur? He is moving online. He's trying to get more young people to know him and like him.
Well, that's a very, very positive step, and also it is necessary for all those leaders or whoever have not been really in contact with the online gadgets. It's really necessary for them now to keep in touch with youth and go at the grassroots level to make sure that they understand what the voice of youth are delivering towards the authority or even the government.
And as we all know, Hun Sen is the current longest-serving prime minister in Cambodia, and 2/3 of Cambodia population, or at 15 million, are under the age of 30-year-old.
Right.
Very tech-savvy. In fact, in the last election in 2013, young Cambodians voted in droves for the opposition Sam Raisy's party, and this is definitely something that Hun Sen do not want to happen. He wants to be in power as long as he can, until he said reaching the age of 74.
Wow, that sounds very ambitious.
That is very ambitious.
Well, apparently he has opened his Facebook page.
Oh, really?
His official Facebook page. It was just started last year, September. It already has more than 1.9 million likes.
It's actually not bad.
It's tremendously increasing.
We could learn from him.
Perhaps. So according to him, he says, wherever technology goes, we must go there too. So that shows that how he's willing to learn a new sort of technology or platforms that he can connect with more people around the world.
That's true. I have a question for you. Would you actually vote for leaders that is active on social media?
I will say yes because it's very necessary. They will know what the voice of especially the youngsters would deliver, and that's the way. For example, Obama, he's been very active
Oh,
on
yeah.
such as Twitter and Facebook, and that's when he's gotten more popularity even more, being who knows the advancement when it comes to technology and all social media platforms. So that's a way, and also another skills and also tools for especially politicians to come forward and to approach younger generations.
That's true.
Yeah.
But to me, it depends who are the leaders. Nowadays, so
I
many
see.
people want to be online. You have some of those leaders that, they say the darnest thing online. So for politicians out there, be careful what you say because young people are really smart. They will judge you online.
Yeah, and they're very quick at
Anyway, that's all from us today. Thanks for listening to Durian ASEAN. And always catch us on our website. We have a whole dose of information, that news, publication, podcasts, and videos. Do check us out at durianasean.com.
And we have other social media platforms as well: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So those contents you can always look for us on online platforms.